Today I'm going to show you how I built this simple and effective mitre saw station which didn't break the bank. It actually came together very easily. The first job is building a workbench all the way along here. I am actually going to build these in two. So there's going to be one that probably comes to about here, and then there'll be a gap which will be for the mitre saw, and then there'll be another one around about here. So two workbenches, gap in the middle, with a platform for the mitre saw to go on. Sounds simple. I've never made a workbench before in my entire life, so I am learning as I go. So hopefully it comes together, it's nice and solid. Now, one of the first things to do while building a workbench is to make sure that you've got some pretty thick timber for your legs. I'm going to be using this workbench for like hammering on top of and things like that. And all of the downforce will be going in through the legs of the workbench, so hence why I'm using 3x3s. I do have a plan. Let me show you. These cross members, these diagonal ones, I don't need those, hence why they're scribbled out. 4 legs, you might even need one in the middle, depending on how long the workbench is. And then literally it supports along the top and the sides, and then the bottoms and the back. As you can see, I've sort of left the front part there open without a cross member. And the reason why the front will be open is because I've got these chest of drawers. I've got cut 2 of them, one there and one on that side. And I want to be able to sort of have them underneath the workbench, but I also want to be able to pull them out if I need to. Also underneath, I'm going to have the bin will be living under there. And also, I now have a compressor which will be living underneath the workbench as well. So I'll need to be able to pull this out in and out as I need to.
That's what she said!
Without having to sort of lift it up over any cross members. So the first job will be working out how high up I want this and then cutting these to the right size. Now, as rickety and horrible as this bench is, I actually really like the height of it. So ideally, that's how high we want our new workbench to be. 915mm or 3 foot, say 3 foot. The thing I've got to think about is obviously the thickness of the worktop that's going to go on there as well. So that's going to be 18mm ply. So if I go for, say, 900mm, these feet all need to be. I reckon if I cut them all at the same time as well, then I'll know that they're all perfectly the same size. So I've now marked all 4 of these. B stands for back, F stands for front, where I need to cut out. I'm going to notch these so that the front and rear panels, which are these ones here, will literally just sit in those grooves. And for the back, obviously there's back supports as well. As I said, I'm learning as I go along, so I've never actually done any sort of cut like this before. So this will be interesting. I'm going to try and do it on the circular saw. My dad said to me that to cut that so that it goes all the way through, I need to put a block behind it to cut through. So let's do that. So in order for me to get some nice clean cuts on this, I'm going to be using my dad's little gauge scribe thing, and where these lines are on here, I'm just going to score it. After I've cut all of my little grooves in there and I go at it with a chisel, this score line should prevent me going any deeper than this score line when I'm chiseling. Now, I've not gone down past my score line, I should be able to just knock these out. Like so. Now, what that means is this will join onto there quite nicely. See? Beautiful. So I've just got to do that again for another front one, and then for the rears you've got to have the same again, cut out of here, but then also a random one in the middle for the bottom support. So now that I have my 4 legs all ready to go, then I think I can start assembling the frame now. I guess one of the main things is that once this is built, I will have a worktop to build the next one. So I won't have to be working off the floor, which would be amazing. First part, this needs to go around the other way though. So that's the back part of the workbench. So what I need to do now is put the front part together and then join them. So if you can see, I've overhung this part here, and that's so that when I do the cross members, which will be here, you won't see them from the front, so you won't see any end grain. Okay, so this is the main sort of frame for the workbench. We are nice and level as well, front and back. Yep. Yep. One of the things that I didn't show, I actually had to like take a millimeter. Hang on, I'll show you. To take this much off the end 2 legs because the bench was completely square and level, and everything's all the same height, but unfortunately the floor in this garage has a slight run to it, so I had to take a little bit off just to make sure that it was nice and level once it's in place, and it is now. So, and it's one of these things where I nearly left it and thought, you know what, it's like literally a tiny little bit out, but I know full well that if I don't sort it out now, it will annoy me later on when I start putting things on the worktop and they start rolling off. I mean, it wouldn't have been that drastic, but still, it's nice and level now. This isn't going to be strong enough for what I need it to be, so I need to put another leg at the back, another leg at the front, and join them. And then I'm actually going to put some cross parts along here as well before the worktop goes on top, just to make it that little bit stronger. Okay, that is the centre bit done. I mean, it already feels a lot sturdier than it did before. As you can see, I'm running out of space. It's kind of like I need a workshop to build a workshop, do you know what I mean? That's pretty solid. The only thing that I need to do now is I want to get a couple more of these, one there, and that'll just give me, because obviously this is going to be plywood on top of here, even though I'm going to use 18mm, I still want a little bit extra support, so for anything that gets hammered or anything, it's just a lot stronger. So 1, 2, and I should think that should be enough. So, there it is. Sturdy, sturdy, sturdy. And the front's still open so I can get the chest of drawers, one on either side, straight in there. So that's the frame made. I just need to put a top on it now. I'm also going to be screwing it into the studs here as well, just so that it doesn't go anywhere. That'll get screwed directly in, and then take off the edges with a router and we're good to go. So I just picked up this plywood to go on top of here. It's 18mm and it was 65 quid, and I was like, that's quite expensive. And I've just read here, it's because it's marine ply. This worktop didn't need to have marine ply as a top. Never mind, live and learn. Always read the labels. Okay, so I've now screwed this to the wall, straight through into the stud that I put in last week's video. Right, this will be the last time I call you, I promise.
It's alright.
Do you want to say hello? Because people only get upset that you haven't been in 2 videos. Well, they're your audience just as much as mine, so...
Don't get jealous.
Pretty solid. Chest of drawers. I might put some feet on this just to get rid of that gap there. Like, just lift it up a bit. This here as well will be mounted to the wall, but for now it's just sat on the worktop. Right, now that that's built, I need to build another one now for the other side. The mitre saw isn't going to be staying on the top here, and it won't even be this mitre saw because I'm actually borrowing that one. So the other bench is going to go along here, and then there'll be a step down with a shelf here which will sit the mitre saw. Whee! Now one of the great things about having a bench now, it means that I don't have to cut all this wood on the floor anymore. The reason why when you build a mitre saw station that it's normally set down is so that you don't have to prop up your wood like what I'm doing now. Now you don't need to watch me make the exact same bench again because it's going to be this process again, just a little bit smaller. So let's skip to the end when I've got the second bench made. So that's it, 1, 2 workbenches, completely even. I mean, how good does this space look? I'm still tripping over everything. Keep your workspace clear, Sean. So all there is to do now is to build a shelf in here for the mitre saw to sit on. And now it does need to be lower than these two so that the runs on the mitre saw will actually sit flush with this, so I can put long pieces of wood on without having to prop them up. This is the mitre saw I'm going to be using. It's an Evolution, and the reason why I went for this one is because it will cut wood, metal and plastic all with the same blade. For the sort of things I'll be building in here, it's nice to have that option. And also it was on offer and it was really good. And it's even got a laser as well. So value for money, I actually got it from B&Q for £160 down from like 200, so it was a good deal. So the first thing I'm going to do is build a platform for it to go on, and then we can work out the height of what that needs to be once it's in place. Strengthen it up a little bit more. You see, now this fits perfectly, right? But the bit that I don't like is this gap here. So maybe I should have made it so that it actually came around that bend there. I could still do that, and I think it would look better. I mean, it's not about how it looks, it's all about it being practical, but I can imagine that annoying me. You're probably wondering, what are these two holes here? And that's because I kind of messed up. Messed up my measurements, but that kind of finishes it. And if anything, right, hear me out. I'm going to try and blag this now. That's perfect for like hanging tools and stuff. I can just put a clamp in there if I need it. Hang on, let's have a look. Yeah, see, it doesn't fit. Look, see? Yeah, hammer doesn't fit either. Chisel, see? Working on something, just pop that in there. These workbenches and things need a little bit of character. So, the worst case scenario, I can always change this front panel whenever. But that was my last length of wood as well, so I'm not gonna have another go at it. What I should have done is just cut this area away. Instead, what I did is I left it and cut the rest of it away, like a moron. Okay, so here's what I've done. The platform is in, right? I've routed the edges just to smooth them off. But what I've done here, 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 and here is I've actually recessed a little area for the feet to go in on the mitre saw, so that when it actually sits on this worktop, it's going to sit completely flush. Now, what I probably should have done was actually lowered this bench a little bit more, so then I could have made my micro adjustments to make sure that it's completely level by packing it out with washers. But I've done it this way because I thought I measured it correctly. I obviously hadn't. I can always change this countertop if I need to. Eventually, at some point, I want to actually put in one that can actually move up and down. And the reason for that is so that if I ever change my mitre saw, I can just adjust it to a new level without having to actually replace the whole shelf. But for now, this will work just fine. Then we just screw it down. So I have put a little bit of a backsplash on both sides. This is mainly just to protect the wall really, but I've got something solid to chisel up against or anything like that. But now what I want to do is I want to extend this fence that's here all the way along there, and again one on that side. I'm going to do, I've got these two strips of 18mm plywood. I'm going to make essentially a fence like this, put some corner brackets on it, screw it down, and then I'll screw these down into the workbench so that I can remove the fence whenever I need full use of the workbench. So, to build these fences, we've got two bits of wood. Turn this around so you can see it. Two pieces of wood, like so. And then we've got these 90-degree bits of wood that I've just cut, which will keep that nice and square. I've done 3 of these per fence. I'm hoping that'll be enough. I'm gonna sort of tack these together with the nail gun, and then I'll screw it all up. People will ask me all the time why I never use wood glue. And I do, but only on things that I'm like, this is going to be permanent. And the way I see it is if you ever need to make changes to anything, it's always sort of better to, in my opinion, to not use the glue, because then you can just remove the parts easier if you need to. but that's just me. But as I'm nailing this, I am going to be using some wood glue, and then obviously it will have a screw for it as well. That's way too much glue on there. I mean, look at this, I even get to use my compressor. So that should be our position for the fence. So now we need to get these mounted. I'm thinking 2 per side. That is the first one done. There's a tape measure which continues on from the measure on here, and it just starts and goes all the way to the end. I routed it in so that's nice and smooth, there's no lips on it or anything. I also got some longer ones of these so I can tighten this down really nicely. So now I have to do is replicate all that again for that side, but luckily in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I made earlier. I still need to router in the tape measure though. So for the fence on this side, I've actually decided not to put a measuring tape on it. And the reason is that the tape measure would need to be upside down so that it can measure off the mitre saw going this way. So I figured, do you know what? Chances of me actually having to measure anything off this side are lower because I've got the other side that I can use. So I'm just going to leave this one without the measuring tape. Now all there is to do is to get all this cleaned up, get the hoover out, because I've made a huge mess, and get everything packed away, and then look at my creation in all its glory. So there it is. This is how the bench would be normally if I was just wanted to use the workbench without the fences on. And then literally they just screw in through there, and then we've got a mitre saw station. And I'll just show you how quick and easy this is, right? We now have a fence on both sides for cutting, well, long battens, whatever I need to do. 90-degree angles, 45-degree angles. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, Sean, a fence is only good if you have a stop block. Well, I literally just made a block. So, you can clamp this to there, depending on the length that you want. So just say I want to cut this at 2 feet, right? I fit my stop block to the 2 feet mark, clamp it in place. I've now got a nice stop block so I can do multiple cuts nice and quickly. Cut down, 2 foot, and then the next one, 2 foot, and then the next one, 2 foot, over and over again. So that's it. I'm really happy with the way this came out. How simple it was to build, and the fact that it didn't break the bank as well makes all the difference. Now I still need to deal with that monstrosity over there, but I'll save that for another video. But thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, maybe consider subscribing. This is a fairly new channel, and my plan is to literally just kit out this entire workshop ready for me to convert camper vans and build furniture and do all sorts. I am a complete amateur, I don't have a trade, so I'm sort of learning as I go, so hopefully you can learn as you go with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!